Welcome to The Explainer. When we think of Nike today, we instantly picture this absolute global titan of sports. But back in 1984, not so much. They were actually really struggling. They were pretty much just a running shoe company with slowing sales, and they were actively losing the basketball war. It was in this incredibly vulnerable moment that Nike faced a decision so literally reckless, their own executives thought it was going to destroy the entire company. But that single choice ended up changing sports marketing forever.
Okay, let's dive into this. How exactly does one reckless decision build a billion-dollar empire? In hindsight, history always seems so obvious, right? We already know exactly how the story ends. But putting the entire future of a struggling company on the line was a monumental leap of faith in that moment. Because if this gamble didn't pay off, the financial blow would have been absolutely devastating. We're talking about potentially bankrupting their entire basketball division overnight. So to really understand why they took that leap, we have to look at what they were actually up against.
Section 1. The 1980s Problem.
And this brilliantly illustrates the uphill battle they were facing. It was a classic David versus Goliath situation. On one side, you have Nike, dealing with slowing sales and growing competition in their core running market. On the other side, the absolute giants of the basketball world, Adidas and Converse. The biggest stars in the NBA wore their shoes. Converse had Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. Adidas had all this international prestige. Nike wasn't just the underdog here, they weren't even in the fight. Their basketball presence was essentially an afterthought. They desperately needed a massive disruptor to crack the armor of these giant competitors.
Section 2. The Unprecedented Gamble.
They found their disruptor in a kid from North Carolina named Michael Jordan. Now keep in mind, he hadn't won an NBA championship yet, and crazily enough, he didn't even want to meet with Nike. His absolute favorite brand was Adidas, and pretty much everyone expected him to sign with them. So why put so much money behind an unproven rookie who didn't even want to wear your shoes? They were proposing to give him a massive, unprecedented contract before he played a single professional minute. If his college game didn't translate to the pros, or heaven forbid he got injured, the entire investment would collapse. The answer really lies in what Nike saw that everyone else somehow missed.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is what Nike wasn't looking at. They weren't just betting on basketball skills. They weren't sitting in a boardroom heavily debating his vertical leap or his scoring averages. They were betting on intangibles: personality, confidence, style, ambition. Nike executives believed that people wouldn't just admire Michael Jordan from afar, they believed people would actively want to become him. They sensed this raw charisma that could transcend the sport itself. This wasn't just a sports bet, you guys, it was a cultural bet.
To pull this off, though, they had to completely rewrite the playbook. The old marketing model in sports was incredibly simple. Find an already famous athlete and pay them to wear your existing shoe. Just a straightforward transaction. But Nike's new model? It was totally absurd for the time. They wanted to build an entire brand revolving around one single athlete. They weren't just going to hand Jordan a pair of standard sneakers. They were going to create an entirely new product line, uniquely tailored to him, named after him, and infused with his specific explosive energy on the court.
Section 3. Selling an identity.
So the crucial point is this. Most people think customers buy products. They don't. Customers buy identity. Think about it. Nobody actually needed a pair of Air Jordans just to play a game of pickup basketball, but owning them and actually wearing them, it made people feel instantly connected to greatness. Just like a luxury watch represents status or a sports car represents success, Air Jordans represented excellence. They became a symbol, a shortcut to confidence, a badge of ambition. Nike figured out a truly powerful principle here. People rarely buy what a product physically is. They buy what it represents.
Section 4. Marketing the controversy. Let's move to and see how this builds. Right when they had the product and the athlete perfectly aligned, they hit a massive hurdle. As all the pieces are falling into place, Jordan gets drafted, this unprecedented deal is made, the shoe is perfectly designed, the NBA suddenly objects to the bold red and black design. It broke their strict uniform color rules. Now, for literally anyone else, a league ban on a highly expensive, brand new flagship product would be a total disaster. You'd scrap the design, apologize, and start over. But Nike, they didn't panic. They leaned right into it and weaponized that pushback into absolute marketing gold.
Their message was simple. These shoes were so different, they broke the rules. And the narrative they spun was absolutely perfect. They basically said the NBA threw them out of the game, but the NBA can't stop you from wearing them. This rebellious, anti-establishment vibe, it was absolutely intoxicating. Suddenly, everyone wanted a pair.
It wasn't just die-hard basketball fans anymore, it was teenagers, trendsetters, people who had never even touched a basketball but just loved the sheer defiance of it. The controversy fueled a massive cultural phenomenon, generating tens of millions of dollars far faster than Nike ever could have predicted in their wildest dreams.
Section 5. The billion-dollar lesson.
Most companies focused on selling products. Nike focused on creating meaning. It really all comes down to that. In 1984, the rest of the industry looked at Michael Jordan and saw a talented rookie who might be able to sell a few pairs of sneakers. Nike looked at him and saw a future icon. This specific willingness to look past the immediate data, to completely trust their instincts, and to see a transformative future, that's the exact difference between a good business and a legendary one. Success, as we see here, rarely comes from playing it completely safe.
Think about it. One decision, one unshakable belief in a possibility others simply couldn't see. That single choice transformed a struggling running company into a global empire worth billions. It just goes to show that sometimes the most valuable, world-changing opportunities look incredibly dangerous up close. So I'll leave you with this. If you were sitting in that boardroom back in 1984, staring down the absolute giants of the industry, with your entire business on the line, would you have taken the risk?